I think everybody has met Cameron at our last at our biannual meeting in April. Just like to reintroduce her here as our new G3 Action Framework Coordinator. And if she has not met with you as a co-lead of your portion of the working group yet, I'm sure she'll be setting that up shortly. But we have an opportunity here to continue to adjust and adapt our G3 action framework going forward. We have lots of great updates from our G3 biannual meeting in April, and we want to keep on improving it and making sure that everything is still aligned with the top priorities on our island to create our sustainable future. Cameron, if it's all right, we'll just flip the agenda slightly and have you start with your update, and then we'll get the Lieutenant Governor to jump in with the steering committee updates after that.
Okay, sure. So it's been over a month since the steering committee last met, and we had a few big events happen in April. Of course, we had the conference on island sustainability, which was very well attended. And during that conference, we had the biannual meeting for the working groups. I would like to thank all of you for your input and for participating in the meeting. I'm currently working on completing the action framework with the updates that were provided. So I will be sending out that revised version as soon as I'm completed with all of those updates, just to ensure that we continue our progress into the summer. Just a heads up, our next biannual meeting is set for September. So we will have more information on that as the date nears. On April 9th, I'm sure that Nolan, I see Nolan is here, so I'll have him speak more about it. But I just wanted to mention that we had a youth summit on April 9th, and we had over 100 youth participate in the day-long summit. They engaged in group discussions, and they also planned to address various needs that they have identified. We also had the unveiling of the Youth Action Plan on April 30th, where our youth representatives compiled all of their feedback and produced the Youth Action Plan. It was disseminated to the governor and the lieutenant governor, to President Price, and to the directors and the representatives from our various agencies and our organizations. The intent of this action plan is to influence our current action framework, and also to engage more of our youth representatives in our movement. So I just wanted to give recognition to our youth representatives for organizing that event and for carrying it through. And I look forward to working with them on ways that we can engage them more and enact their plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Cameron. I think we can continue on with well, here's on perfect timing. We got our Lieutenant Governor joining us. Hello, Lieutenant Governor. We were just starting with, we got an update from our G3 Action Framework Coordinator, Cameron Kittigwa, and so perfect timing for your update as Steering Committee Co-Chair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Half a day to everybody. I just wanted to commend everybody for the significant key events that have happened since we last spoke. I thought that the presentations at the Island Sustainability Conference were excellent. And I was really, really happy with the outcome with the Youth Summit. That I have to tell you that totally exceeded my expectations in many, many ways. I mean, I already had a high expectation, but the members of all the participants just blew me away. And I know, and that had a lot to do also with the great facilitation from UOG. So I want to thank everybody for that. The only thing I was going to say in terms of an update, the governor and I met last week with the members of the Non-Communicable Disease Consortium. And of course, that group has been really focused, at least on the health side, with a lot of coordination of programs and services that are focusing on all the chronic illnesses that our island's population is afflicted with. So the cancer, diabetes, heart disease, all the areas that, of course, have our feeling is, of course, that there's challenges because that we've been, of course, focused on the response and recovery from COVID-19. But now that things have been stabilizing, the other thing that we're seeing, of course, are many people have put off appointments. A lot of people early on in the pandemic were scared to go to their doctor's appointments. General health care has been sort of on the side for some folks. And so we do anticipate a lot of additional responses that we need to make. So I was going to say that for Lola and for the other members of that team, I asked the members of the consortium to be active and to, they're going to be doing they're going to revise their strategic plan to carry us from 2023 forward. And I think a lot of the health outcomes that they're looking at have a cross-sect and certainly are going to be eventually contained and supportive of all the things in our action framework under health. So that's one thing. On the education side, of course, since we last met, there's been a significant policy development with the adoption of a new pay plan that basically updates the educator pay plan. We believe that that's going to have a significant impact, just like the nursing and law enforcement pay plans have impacts on retention and recruitment for educators. I'll just say this on the law enforcement side, police officers and firemen that were looking to retire but are still within the service range have made good decisions to stay on, and we anticipate this to be also for the teachers. And so I think that's one, those are things that stabilize this framework. Then the last thing I'd want to mention is I do see a lot of opportunities to increase engagement and with some of the migrant communities. So one of the top things that I think the first thing that was presented at the Youth Summit was a very, very focused approach to dealing with cultural diversity on Guam and pushing back on some of the things that we're seeing in the criminal justice system and in education that have caused some folks in our community to feel sort of apart from and not included in a lot of programs and services. So what I wanted to say is that in these next few months, there's a whole bunch of things that are being pushed out that were reported also by the committees, but I think there's additional focus that I'd like to spend on the cultural diversity angle and trying to really address inclusion for some of the migrant communities that we have on the island. So I just wanted to, again, thank everybody for what they're doing out there. I hope that you received a lot of praise and a lot of feedback from the presentations you made at the conference. I sure did. And then I'll look forward to the rest of the meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I will now give my co-chair update from the implementation project side of CIS, and thank you for covering a little bit of it, and Cameron as well. So I'll just show some pictures of the activities we've been talking about. Just give me 1 second to load this up here. Is everybody seeing the correct side, or do I need to swap my display?
We can see it.
Okay, thank you. So as we mentioned, we had our 2022 University of Guam Conference on Island Sustainability, and we were thankful to have our co-chairs, President Thomas Kreis and Governor Leon Guerrero, lead our conference, and we had our keynote speaker, Suzanne Varis-Lum, the new president of the East-West Center based in Hawaii. We also had some fantastic featured speakers like Heidi Kujawa, who came from Bifusion, this startup in LA that is recycling all plastics 1 through 7 into these incredible building blocks. We also had Hank Rogers, the founder of Blue Planet Foundation, who is helping the world move toward 100% renewable energy commitments by 2045. And the Blue Planet Alliance is something that Guam is part of because we have passed that ambitious mandate thanks to our legislature and to the governor's signature on that. We had a great STEM symposium to train more of our students in marine science and environmental sciences, and brought many different opportunities to our community. We had a housing summit for the first time that Lieutenant Governor had called for, and the governor had called for, and we worked with GURA and the UOG School of Business and Public Administration's Masters of Public Administration program. This was their project to put together a full day event for a housing summit that went very nicely, and some really great outcomes that we will continue to be developing throughout the year to create more sustainable solutions for our housing future here on the island. And here's a picture of, we actually had 3 convenings of youth, and this was the final one where their framework was presented. And I know we'll hear more from Nolan a little bit later in the meeting today to hear what some of this framework looks like and how we'll be incorporating it together with our G3 action framework. An update on our workforce development program, which is the Guam Green Growth Conservation Corps. We have the 12 active members that are in the community every day working on areas of the green economy, such as agriculture and aquaculture, removal of invasive species, renewable energy, and so much more. So just a few examples of what they've been doing. They've been learning about the aquifer in partnership with Weary and Dr. Jensen, teaching them about the rock formations and how to conserve our freshwater resources. They've been up to the Bertidian Wildlife Refuge to learn about cultural resources and the incredible biodiversity up there. They've been working with farms such as the Valley of the Latif Farm to learn about ecotourism and also food security issues. And we've been sending them out to every village on Fridays. So this is still a regular occurrence that we have as part of the G3 Conservation Corps. This is a picture of the Sinahanya cleanup, and we bring and welcome volunteers along the way. This is from one of our the sister squadron of Sinahanya Village a couple weeks ago. The Guam Green Growth team also supported the Serena Festival that happened on May 7th. And we had an oceanside cleanup in the morning, and we thank the volunteers for coming out to Paseo to help us clean up there and get the recycled cans over to iRecycle afterwards. So we had a nice group for that event. And we were there in the afternoon for the festival in Skinner Plaza, where we brought some outreach on sustainable development goals and our natural resources related to SDG 14, Life Below Water. Here's a schedule of our upcoming beautification event. So you can join the Conservation Corps at 8 o'clock this Friday at the Coconut Park across Naval Hospital when we go to Agania Heights. And you can see the other list for the rest of May and throughout some of the weeks in June. We're going to be in Agania Heights this week, Asan Maina the following, then Pidi, Santa Rita Sumai, and Agate after that. And you can find all of these, the schedules on the Guam Green Growth social media pages. An update about the G3 Circular Economy Makerspace and Innovation Hub. This is open most days of the week, and it's been very active, and we invite you to visit if you haven't been there yet, where you can find and access power tools, CNC routers, 3D printers, laser cutters, and more to turn waste products into new marketable products. There's also a regular schedule of workshops that we have going on now. You can learn about, earlier this month, they were learning about eco-printing and textile printing, about turning hibiscus fiber into earrings. There will be a laser cutter engraving introduction in a couple of days, and there's also a bamboo and wood burning workshop. So we hope to continue offering a wide variety of these different workshops, and we'll be posting these each month. Also in May, we worked with Department of Chamorro Affairs and the GUMA Business Incubator to help support the reopening of the Chamorro Village Night Market. And we supported the trade fair that GUMA was coordinating with us for 3 Wednesdays. Today is the last trade fair event with GUMA, and just a couple of pictures of what that looks like. We have our local business vendors that are out there showcasing their products. We also offer tours into the makerspace areas where you can see the plastic recycling workshops and other types of projects to participate in. You can also sign up on the Eventbrite page to drop off some of your plastic recyclables. If you have Clean Plastics 2 and 5, you can schedule a time for those drop-offs. Our Conservation Corps was there on the first week of the reopening of the Chamorro Village to help with recycling education. You may remember these bins being talked about in our previous G3 steering committee meetings and Island Beautification Task Force meetings. These recycling bins are now at every village, and we are still installing the trash bins at different parks around the island. So those were a few of my quick updates for our side from the G3 team, and we look forward to more implementation and helping to create our sustainable future with all of you. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to you, Cameron, to lead the CoLead updates.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shelton. Now we'll address the updates from our team co-chairs. If I can ask those in the Educated, Capable, and Compassionate Island Working Group, if we can have an update.
Hafaday, Cameron. Unfortunately, Dr. Mario Cotta is off island, but fortunately, I'm here with my other co-conspirator, Lonnie Brennan, to give you a quick update on emerging opportunities for Educated, Capable, and Compassionate Island. One of the big ones that we have is just Programa ni Panila ni Famagoan Guahan, which is the child care initiative led by the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, GITA, and the Department of Public Health and Social Services. And there's a number of programs under this umbrella, which include expanded block grant. Those applications are open, and it's a really big deal because there's thousands of families that are now eligible for assistance with childcare, for free childcare. If anybody's interested, please visit guamchildcare.com. There's also an employers program, a community care program that they're going to be rolling out, after school care, summer school, and relative care. And the most recent program that they have rolled out is this childcare provider certification program in conjunction with the Guam Community College. So applications are open for that program. The first cohort launched this week, and their goal is to create 100 new career paths for folks. So if people are interested in participating in that, you have to be 18 years and up, and you can visit investguam.com. And so I just want to shoot it over to Lonnie Brennan for an update on additional emerging opportunities.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I guess Dr. Okada's off island, but I wanted to give you an update on some of our activities, our youth activities. After decades in a hiatus, the resurrection of the Summer Youth Internship and Employment Program began in 2021 in partnership with GDOE. But this year, the governor's office is going to sponsor it in collaboration with DYA. The program will start from June 20th to July 29th for youth ages 14 to 17, and is slated for 6 weeks at $300 a week. So anybody interested can give DYA a call. We'll have more information on DYA's website. Additionally, GPD's Project U continues. That also started last year, but continues with its second summer camp this year, and that's slated to begin on June 6th to July 1st of this year. This is a Safe Schools Partnership Initiative, and if anyone needs more information, I was hoping that Sergeant Maggie would be on today, but you can also give DYA a call. Traditional positive youth development opportunities continued with youth months, oratorical contests, Island Leadership Day. But I think what is like most noteworthy is we heard from the youth, the Mona Menhoben in the Youth Summit, and the resulting Youth Action Plan, which I hope to well, I know that it's going to merge with the overall G3 framework, but honestly, to have youth voices, these issues that confront us really confront them, and some of their recommendations. I was like the Lieutenant Governor, I was floored. So really excited for when we can merge and when we can, work more closely with our youth voices. Additionally, in terms of recruitment and retention, I know the Lieutenant Governor just mentioned the teachers' pay, but also with reference to this administration's work on recruiting and retaining child welfare workers, there was a differential pay that they authorized, as well as law enforcement recruitment and retention. There was also an adjustment in the law enforcement salaries, which impacted all of the law enforcement officers, I believe, on January 31st of this year. Child welfare retention, child welfare differential pay started also in the end of January. So really good forward thinking in helping some of these workers stay with our local agencies. I don't know, am I missing anything else, Senator?
No, we just have a lot of stuff to update, but I want to also hear everybody else's. Thanks, Lonnie.
Alrighty.
Thank you very much, Senator and Mrs. Brennan. May we move on to the next working group, Thriving Natural Resources, if you have any updates.
Thank you. So I don't want to take away, and maybe Austin can fill you in on more of what was actually happening. I mean, more details about the designation of the Guam Sea Grant Program to institutional status, and that is going to be formally announced in August. But Fran wanted me to mention that on June 14th, they will be having a listening session to go over the strategic planning that has been done for this new designation. And she really would appreciate if a lot of people can participate in that. So please try to make that date available to you. The CIS and Sea Grant program also received $200,000 from the Marble Cave settlement. The funds will go to the GROW program to combat erosion, but also kickstart the offset program, which will support the Micronesia Challenge. The Habitat Conservation Plan stakeholder meeting started this May. They'll have another one with the consultants in September. This plan will give better focus to will allow Department of Agriculture to better manage endangered species here on Guam through development in partnership with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We were very fortunate to be able to attend the Our Oceans Conference in Palau with the governor and Carlotta Leon Guerrero. At the conference, the Micronesia Challenge had a side event, which was well received, but throughout all the opportunities for engagement, there was a lot of discussion about the G3 activities here on Guam, the development of the dashboard, and the local 2030. And I'm sure Austin can give more information about that. But it was a very successful conference. One of the nice things about this conference was that every single panel, they had a youth representative that was fully integrated into the discussion. I think that's something that we're trying to do here as well. I met with the Climate Change Commission, and we're looking at developing a development policy for future development that looks at the latest NOAA data on sea level rise and wave run-up, as well as really integrating agroforestry into the way that we do restoration, but also improvement for wetlands. Department of Agriculture celebrated Earth Day at EPAL. It was well received and well attended. We're still in the process of updating the sustainable financing plan for the Micronesia Challenge. We're still waiting on some agencies to provide their financial data so that the plan can be updated by June. Also, the Sea Grant has a science center, and we're looking to open that. It was set up and taking some visitors, and then COVID happened. And so Fran and I are going to be working on trying to open that section. And I think we're going to have a section specifically for G3. And finally, the UOG Marine Lab is celebrating their 50th anniversary. And you can buy their commemorative booklet on UOG Press. So please go to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lujan. May I get somebody from the Healthy and Prosperous Communities Working Group to provide an update?
Hi there. Good morning, everybody. So with regards to the Healthy and Prosperous Communities for the updates, Department of Agriculture was awarded an ARPA USDA Emergency Rural Healthcare Grant in the amount of $338,540. So basically the funding would provide for the development of the food bank operation. And this is a partnership with Department of Chamorro Affairs. The plan is to set up a food bank in one of the stalls at the Chamorro Village. And then actually BSP will be providing the technical support to agriculture to kind of set up the grant and so forth, and implementation of the project. And then I was on a call earlier with Miss Juanita Blas. She's on the call. Actually, Carlotta had asked me to reach out to her. So we're basically going to start trying to see what technical support we can provide to Island Girl Power with regards to, I guess they have some grants, and kind of see how we can support them in either setting up the grants or kind of providing technical assistance on what information is needed to complete part of the process to get the grant award. So that's what we're going to be doing with Island Girl Power. And then we have not been able to meet with our group. We had some I guess issues with our Zoom link, but Mel and we are going to reconvene meeting with our group starting next week, Friday. So, and we'll have more information to report then. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leon Guerrero. Now I would ask if somebody from the Sustainable Alliances Working Group can provide an update.
That's me, right?
That's you.
Is anybody else on here? Austin, or sorry, Nolan and Trina, I think. Oh, Trina's here. Okay. Yeah, we are on the research side of the house. We're still chipping away at the reports that we committed to delivering. But I spoke to I got an email from Carlotta, and she informed us that Gov and LT have agreed to back the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which is one of the pieces that we're working on. As you know, Nolan is a part of the Youth Summit, so we've been kind of by default plugged in on that too. I just got back from the UN Pacific Caribbean Regional Seminar in St. Lucia, which went pretty well. Dr. Bavakwa was invited as a content expert as well. So we were able to get some great language in there. We'll see what happens with the annual resolution from the UN. But the SDGs have been getting a lot of action over at the UN, even on the decolonization side. The last time we went to the fourth committee, LT gave a really great testimony to ensure that we our progress on the SDGs locally are going to be included in our update on the UN resolution. We did provide an additional update at the regional seminar. And so we're hopeful that that language will be included. Guam has really been, at least from the updates I've heard from the other non-self-governing territories, Guam is really ahead of the curve on this particular aspect. So we're pretty excited about it. We'll see what happens. It's kind of you never really know what's going to happen at the UN until it happens. And even when it happens, it doesn't necessarily move mountains, but it's, you know, if we use this work in collaboration with our engagement with the State Department and DOI, it definitely helps. So we're hopeful that we'll get some of that language included. I'll provide the group with an update on the draft resolution when I get it. It should be out in a couple weeks because the C24 regular or substantive session should be happening next month sometime. They haven't announced the dates yet. So our plan is to engage at that level. That's our last chance to make any substantive changes to the resolution before it goes to a vote by the General Assembly in October. But as of now, you know, we've provided all of the information that we hope to be included, and it's really up to the committee at this point. But that said, you know, if we are able to engage at the C24 session, then we'll definitely have a chance to push that even further and make sure that our language is included. That's all I got. I'm not sure if Trina or Nolan wants to add anything else to this.
Thanks, Mel. I'll just add, I'll follow on a little bit from Vanjie's great report out on our oceans. Some of the broader outcomes from the meeting, over 400 new commitments worth over $16.3 billion to protect the ocean, nearly 250 million US pledged to fight illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. There's commitments from the US, Denmark, Palau, and Marshall Islands, which doubled the number of signatories to a declaration on zero emission shipping by 2050. The US launched an ocean conservation pledge, inviting other nations to join them in a commitment to conserve, protect, and restore at least 30% of ocean waters under their jurisdiction. So Guam and the Micronesia Challenge are well beyond that. We've committed to at least 50% of effective management. And then there also is, the US also announced more than 160 million to support coastal resilience through the National Coastal Resilience Fund. So those are some of the key outcomes that affect Guam. And I also just want to give a plug that at the MC side event, we had these amazing, from the Guam Makerspace, these amazing phone stands that Miracle set us up with. And they were a real hot swag to get everybody wanted their Micronesia Challenge phone stands. So that's all I have. Nolan maybe has something to add.
Did you want me to talk about the youth summit here, Cam?
We'll get to that after the sustainable homes and utilities and transportation. Thanks, Nolan.
All good on my end then.
Thank you so much. Thank you, folks. So now we'll move on to the sustainable homes, utilities, and transportation working group. If I can.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm here. Hi, thank you for the opportunity to report. Just going back to some of the things that we've been previously reporting regarding our Guam Strategic Energy Plan and our partnership with Dr. Austin Shelton's office to update the actual plan since it's been since 2013. Just want to say that we did meet with Dr. Shelton yesterday and we are moving along with it. So we are working to gather the different stakeholders that are going to come make up the composition of an energy task force to help oversee the updating of our energy plan. And I'm happy to also say that Dr. Shelton is giving us an intern from graduate school over the summer, probably starting in June, to help to bring this to a closer to our goal. And so we're really happy to be getting help with that. Second to report is regarding the Guam Tropical Energy Code. We're happy to say that we wrote into our next grant application for our state energy plan, an education component, so that we would be able to have a workshop for the different contractors on the island. And that's going to be led by, of course, the author of the code, Mr. Brent from the Guam Building Code Council. I don't think he's the chair anymore, but he is going to handle that. So we're happy to say that in 2023, the first quarter of 2023, we are going to be educating the different contractors on the updated building codes. Then I want to share that we signed an MOA with GPA for a campaign that's called We Care, and that's to conserve and reduce energy. And it's basically just a different components. GPA is going to be purchasing STEM kits for all the schools, and we're going to be the agency to disseminate that. And then a bunch of other stuff. They're going to be offering rebates on our weatherization program for the air conditioners that we buy. So we're going to be able to service more people in the community because of that. A really great partnership. And then finally, last but not least, we wanted to just update everybody that, so in order for us to apply for any of the infrastructure money under the energy component, we do have to commit to creating a Guam energy security plan. So we're happy to say that the seed money for that is $200,000, and we got that application in on time under with the guidance, of course, of our DOE program managers. So the good thing about it is, well, the work ahead of us is we have to prepare a Guam energy security plan. And just so that everybody know what that is, it's basically a plan that ensures a reliable and resilient supply of energy through efforts to identify, assess, and mitigate risks to energy infrastructure. So basically, it's going to be how do we plan for, respond to, and recover in the event of emergencies. And through the development of this plan, it's going to help other agencies and entities that are applying for any kind of infrastructure money that deals with energy. So we do that. We get the $200,000 to do it. We have to submit a plan by the end of the fiscal year, and then it opens up the doors for everybody else to apply for any kind of energy related infrastructure money. So those are the 4 top updates to share. And then next month, when we provide more updates, we'll be able to touch base on other agencies as well. Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you so much for your update. Now I would ask if anybody from the Data and Public Engagement Working Group has any updates.
I can speak for the group, Cam, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. So we're really excited here in terms of some of the products that we'll be pushing out very, very soon. We're looking at releasing more videos, and I do encourage everyone to follow UOGCIS on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on our YouTube page, because we're putting up a lot of stuff, especially with the Conservation Corps out and about. They're doing so much, and our team is really working to kind of capture that so that we can continue to inspire everyone else in the community to kind of follow along with those modules and get involved with some of the actions that we are encouraging and they're learning through this process. So again, you can follow us all over the place. For that, I've added everybody, I believe, to our mailing list for our monthly newsletter. If you haven't been getting it, please DM me and I'll make sure that I have the right address, or it might be a filter issue with your email, so we can rectify all of that. But we're putting out those monthly newsletters with some of the updates as well from the group, as well as through some of the implementation projects that we've got going as well. And we're excited as we continue to grow with our recent ESF grant. We're going to be doing a publications group here, a publications project that will take us through the next 2 years, thanks to the amazing support of the administration and some of the ESF funds. So we're going to be putting out some quarterly publications along with supporting material to benefit place-based education with our K through 12, as well as some products that will really target and encourage growth among some of our older community members and stakeholders too. So we're really, really excited for that. Ms. Luella Lasino, veteran reporter and editor and newsroom runner, will be handling a lot of that publication coordination and a lot of the managing for that too. So we're excited. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kyle. Now, Nolan, if you can provide your update.
Sure, thanks, Cam. Yeah, you guys may have already been bombarded by my press releases, but we held a 3-part youth summit with the help of the Lieutenant Governor's Office, as well as G3, or the entire UOGCIS. So thank you all for your help. But yeah, let me just share my screen real quick so we can show some visuals. And then, so, oh, is that showing? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so a 3-part youth summit. It was around a full day for each of the youth summits. We started off with just youth, brainstorming the issues that are affecting them and brainstorming the solutions that they envision to address those issues. And then we got into things related to the SDGs. So Dr. Shelton, Rita, Cam presented on the SDGs on the youth or the G3 action framework. And then so the goal was for youth to create this action plan in line with the action framework. And yeah, here are a few pictures from the event. We broke it up into 5 categories: equality and equity, education, youth opportunities and activities, sustainability and climate action, and then health and well-being. And from there, we created the youth action plan, which was unveiled on April 30th, like Cam said, to cabinet members, to community stakeholders, to the governor and the lieutenant governor, and a few from the G3 steering committee. Yeah, so it mirrors, it mimics the action framework, and we saw some pretty interesting things, some great ideas from youth. So of course, not just talking about these issues that are affecting them, but actually proposing these action goals, these SMART goals, these 10+ year goals to fix those issues, to address those issues. So I'd say the major ones were mental health, like the lieutenant governor said, what was that, discrimination and racial equality in schools and stuff. And then of course, public transport was a big one, and just opportunities for youth in general to get involved in their community. So this is available. I will send it in the chat for everyone to look through. But yes, Masi, for all your help with this. We're excited to see where it goes in the action framework.
Cam, before you go on, Nolan, I was going to suggest that maybe you could encourage the team leads or the from each of the areas there from the Youth Summit to maybe write a op-ed, and maybe we should consider each of them submitting an op-ed to the papers that kind of just in a big picture talks about the action that they're calling for. And I think that would be great, gearing people, shifting people's attention into the framework and getting it into the public sphere as well.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for that suggestion. I just wanted to congratulate Nolan. He'll be graduating this weekend from the University of Guam.
Maybe. No.
Don't jinx it, Nolan.
Thank you.
Okay, folks. I believe that is all for our team updates. If there are any outstanding questions or any comments. So it sounds like everybody is good. Okay, if we'll just call this meeting to end.
Lieutenant Governor, any other final comments from you?
No, I just want to continue to encourage everybody. And I think that we also talked about making sure that we had, if there are gaps in your active working committee that need to be filled, I think that we also talked about making sure that we identified additional folks for resources into each of the action areas so we can continue the progress. So, maybe we'll work with Cameron, and she can work with all of you to figure out what subject areas or what individuals you may wish we may need to activate, and then we can push that forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Also, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.